Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 16. So the previous week, I did my placement matches, got to Gold 3, which is about all the good news I can say about this season so far. The good news, I guess the other good news is being Gold 3 means I can't D-rank, which means if I was really persistent, I could just keep cycling losses until I find a box I actually want to fight. Which I did kind of experiment on, which this box you see, this is the box you'll see. Almost, I mean, I've exaggerated before when I say it's the same box over and over again. Usually there's, a couple of characters that are different here and there. But it's, I don't know, it feels a lot, it feels even more the same boxes this season than ever. In any case, I'm going up against this person who has 3 tanks, I think. Yeah, 3 tanks, just 1 healer. And then a lot of the characters that are just really annoying. You got SP Bernhardt, you got a lot of single target guys, you got some AoEs, you got Lena, you got Boro. So pretty much everything that I dislike. One thing I did change is I did drop Auden Kelmo and replace her with the Awakened one. Mainly just for ban bait over anything else, but she does. If I am allowed to get her, she does provide a faction buff, which would be nice. So I banned their Awakened one because I have to. If I don't, they'll just ban Rose and Seal and then swap me. So I pick Christiane. They get rid of Rose and Seal. They get rid of Grinshield. They go ahead and open with SP Bernhardt. This will be my second time going up against SP Bernhardt. And so far, he's been kind of a problem. Actually, a lot of the characters have been a problem lately. A lot of bruiser-type characters that are just able to do lots of damage, and while maybe not as durable as a tank, but they're much more durable than any other squishy assassin or mage. And since I rely heavily on assassins with physical damage, it's been making things a lot more difficult for me. I went ahead and grabbed a Sylvaria. I honestly don't know if there was an even better option at this point. I think Joa and Connie might have been an interesting pick. I think Joa and Connie actually might have been slightly better and more reliable to use. But it's hard to say. Anyway, bans to Talia and Liana. And they go ahead and grab, I think this is what, Asmodeus or whatever his name is. One of the new rare characters or whatever they're called. I went and grabbed Sissy White. One I need to grab a healer, but also I need mass attack, so I can actually buff attack for people. Also, she's the only person that has act again, and she can potentially give me more tanks to try to guard against SP Bernhardt's nonsense. Asmodeus is a flyer type, it looks like. I think his other class could be demon. But the big thing to note is he actually ignores class disadvantage, which is something I just remembered, which is probably why I had difficulties with him. I went ahead and got rid of Hilda to get rid of crit negation. Go ahead and get rid of Grinshield because obvious reasons. I go ahead and get rid of my Kyura, get rid of my Joe and Connie. Go ahead and grab Rose and Seal. As always, I'm usually okay with them taking Rose and Seal. I mean, debuffs are nice, but they're not what I really rely on. I went ahead and grab Illustrial at this point. She generally has okay maneuverability with using the mountains on the top and bottom. I go ahead and lose the rest of my archers at this point, and we got Wedham there, which I'm not as worried about. Go ahead and get rid of Lena and SP Leon, and let my opponent just have a tank. Then I grabbed Tiaris, mainly just to try to get more damage output, because I'm very concerned about being able to kill Bernhardt. Alright. So, Illustrial's pretty much standard kit, roundabout with all of her exclusives and an Elven Cavalry Archers. Tiaris, I usually bring Sorceresses just to try to get a little extra damage output out of her. And then I go with 3C Miracle and Heal. Christiane went with Phalanxes, which is actually not that bad for this group since they're not actually bringing that much infantry. but everything else is standard kits. Sylvaria, the usual deck gunner with disarm and Valkyria power. And then for Sissy White, I did bring mass attack with Shrine Maidens. Wedem is single target spec with Steelman Werewolf, so he's actually not flying right now. Standard kit for Landius with Guardian Infantry. Full heals for Rose and Seal, Holy Class, Shrine Maidens, but doesn't seem to have fixed damage immunity, it looks like. In fact, her gear is kind of weird. There should be a lot more bonuses than that. I keep calling him Asmodeus. Apotheosis. As you can see, I don't care about this character. Anyway, ignores unit class disadvantage. He gets increased attack. After taking action, he recovers HP, and he adds 6% of his attacks to one other stat at random, excluding HP, cannot be dispelled. After dealing damage, he has a chance of inflicting Nightmare or Demoniac, how to pronounce it. Nightmare essentially makes me lose control of the unit, making them essentially a AI controlled person. And it's terrible. And then the other effect just transforms you into a demon, which for this is actually not that bad. His abilities: all enemies within 3 blocks have a 30% chance of being turned into a demon after taking action. He has an AoE that does additional damage to demons and holy. It also reduces defense, which goes well with everything else here because it's all physical. And then the end is nigh. Enters Chaos State. Talent debuffs can't be dispelled, so okay. And then upon entering battle, he'll do increased damage and reduce damage taken. And let's see, when casting Dark Tremor, it inflicts Nightmare on everybody, which is crazy. And then he also gets a self-res built in. And then after he does that, he can also move 3 spaces and essentially murder me. Other than that, nothing. He also doesn't cycle buffs, because why should it? SP Bernhardt here. He has his 3C faction buff, and then he's got Hail to the King. After activating this skill, you can choose to temporarily replace it with an unequipped skill from either Sword Dance, Shield Bash, or Crusade of the Dam, last 2 turns. When he activates it, he grants Rupture for 3 turns, even though he already has Rupture active. Cannot be dispelled, and when cast, he can move 3 blocks again and attack. So essentially what he can do is he can do this, move 3 spaces, and then immediately Sword Dance, essentially. Which will do a ton of damage, then fixed damage from Rupture, and then of course the heal negation from Sword Dance as well. So it's a... You remember when you actually had to make choices for your skills, like what ones you want to put in the slot? I don't, because now you have these skills now that just let you pick whatever skill... Let you take all 3 skills at once. Anyway, he did go with Steelman Werewolves, and also his class is actually Dragon. So if you happen to have that silly sword that does extra damage to dragons, it'll actually work against him. Alright. In any case, I do go ahead and do 3C in place. My opponent does have a ton of mobility. Bernhardt has 4 mobility, and he has the move 3. Also, when he puts up his faction buff, he'll get an additional 1 mobility, I believe. So yeah. So I go ahead and get this going. I believe at this point, I think Rose and Seal is 9 blocks away. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, she's 9 blocks away. So I do move pretty aggressively with Lustriel here. I'm actually moving outside of guard range, but I am going to go ahead and put up a Mercenary Lancer. Good old Jim there. Get up Lance Phalanx. So I make quite a bit of mistakes pretty quickly here, mainly because I'm just not familiar with Apotheosis or really SP Bernhardt at this point. I do get 3C active. So here's the situation right now. Okay, he was in Grasslands. Okay, noted. So right now, Sylvaria has Rose and Seal, Wedem, and Apotheosis all within assassinate range, and then the other two I'll be one tile short, which means I'll attack with troops. I think so. The big issue here is I didn't take into account the fact he ignores class disadvantage, and that is pretty significant here because it reduces my damage by quite a bit. What's kind of crazy though is I want to point out that Apotheosis right now has no faction buff. He is taking 15% less range damage, but that's about it. He's not in a forest or anything like that. So I went with a sure bet here with Silvaria, and I think this was a mistake. I should have used somebody else. I should have used a Lustriel to deal with this, and used Silvaria to try to shoot Apotheosis. I mean, it's still difficult to say. Assuming I would get killed on Apotheosis, which honestly I really should be able to, I would then have to deal with both Wedham and Bernhardt running in and AoEing me, with Bernhardt doing Sword Dance, which of course negates heals. At that point I would have been kind of in trouble. Also, leaving Wedham alive when this elite mercenary inevitably dies, it would also proc Wedham's nonsense, which would get rid of buffs and make it so he can guard bypass. So either way, I would have been kind of screwed. So yeah, here's Hail to the King. Yeah, he picks that one. Yeah, so Rupture does not stack. Yeah, so even with the crit, I only did 33,000 here, which was kind of pathetic. I mean, I was super heavily wounded. So honestly, I should have, like I said, I should have done the other way around. I should have gone for Apotheosis with Silvaria, which I think even without the weakness, I'm pretty sure I would have gotten enough damage. But yeah, so the big issue here was the fact I was wounded so badly by Bernhardt that I could not actually survive. And I couldn't have just done a heal either. It would not have, because I actually could not have healed because Bernhardt's Sword Dance. I did do Immol Crusher, which got rid of it, and actually tried to throw it on Apotheosis. Of course, he's got Crystal Barriers. It did give me an extra 10% damage. But yeah, unbuffed, full HP, I couldn't actually do enough damage. Also, he was at full life, and he probably... So I think it was Last Rites that cost me. Yeah, I think if I had Twilight Star, there might have been a chance I could have gotten kill. Other than that, though, it's hard to say. I don't know if Apotheosis has Last Rites or not equipped, but he has a flyer, so there's a good chance. But yeah, I wasn't getting any... I'm pretty sure I didn't get extra damage from being an archer because of his talent. And yeah, at this point, it's pretty much just downhill from here. Here, you get to see this little cutscene. Yeah, so and I couldn't afford to wait. Like I mentioned, I couldn't heal anyone in the first place. But the other issue was he was going to transform and get his self-res, and at that point you're kind of just screwed. So I'm trying to do what I can here, but there's not really much I can. Bernhardt's just ridiculous. His aura that reduces your attack and defense just is complete pain. Yeah, that Sword Dance just took out so many of my troops. It's ridiculous. Yeah, at this point I'm going to end up dying because Apotheosis is just going to AoE me. So yeah, at this point I do give up. And yeah, this season is just my damage is not my stats aren't showing, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, not too often, but I do show losses every once in a while. This week it was all losses, by the way. That was the only match I even bothered to fight. The rest of them I just kind of looked at the box and just wanted to see what type of stuff I was going to be up against. I don't know if this is going to actually show anything or not. Yeah. So this one was See, you can see this one was actually a little bit different. Actually, no, sorry. Yeah, so a lot of the box you usually see is this one, where you have Akka and Polyol, and then it's just, you know, full on rush. It does have a Moo, which is a bit different. So I'm just kind of showing off the boxes I just kind of said no to. I mean, some of them I probably could have been okay with, but I didn't want to deal with it. Yep. Kind of just see this. This one actually has tanks with it. Actually, it has 3 tanks. I think it literally has only one character different. And then, let's see. What's this guy got for me? Good old Forza over there. So instead of a Archon of the Moon, you have Rodham there. But other than that, the rest of the box is exactly the same. And then the last one. Yep. Look at that. I think this one actually took... Yeah, there's a slight... I think the difference was the tank has changed. And I don't know what Rodham was placed with, but yeah, you can kind of see the trend here. So there's a slight differences. Some are slightly more rushed than the others, but you definitely see a lot of the familiar faces. Landius has actually been kind of getting a little bit of a comeback, mainly because he can reduce range damage, so that helps deal with a lot of the AoE damage on top of, you know, using Christian and Resident Seal. But yeah, I didn't actually get a win this week, so I apologize, but honestly, I knew it was going to be bad. I knew that, you know, getting gold 3 right off the bat pretty much meant I was either going to be fighting people who were lucky like I was, or going against people who were pure meta boxes, and that was what I ran into. So that's just how it is. We'll see if next week does a little bit better. But until then, I am the Depressed Eeyore. This is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 16, and I'll see you guys next time.